question is, are you ready?
What do you guys want to talk about?
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Throwdown Nation, we are live. It is a Friday night. We are rolling on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter/X, on Facebook, and on Twitch. Happy Halloween. It is episode 167 of the Throwdown. I'm your host, Matt, and tonight is actually another first for the show. We are taking our first trip down under. We are throwing down with a lady from Gold Coast, Australia, who is taking the indie scene by storm. Ladies and gentlemen, the Outlier, Kyla Knight. How you doing, Kyla?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Sorry, my dog's going a little psycho right now, but she'll settle down. But
Okay.
anyway, for those of you that are watching this live, if you have questions or comments, just go ahead and throw them in the chat, and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A at the end. So we've already got a couple of people showing up in the Instagram chat. We've got Brianna Franklin, who is currently a wrestling trainee down at the House of Champions in Orlando, Florida, and Metal Pete Comedy. So we'll start with the first and the most obvious question, Kyla, and that is, how long have you been wrestling?
Well, I debuted in October 2017, so that would make it about 8 years this month, actually.
Nice. So you've been doing it for a bit.
For a hot minute, yeah.
Yeah. So I know the answer to some of this, but who all has actually trained you?
So when I started in Australia, I was originally trained by a local legend, Obi Cartel, who unfortunately has retired now. In 2020, I trained at Flightbacks with Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze. And then I went to the New Japan Dojo in New Zealand to train with
Oh,
Farley
nice.
and Tony Kazina. And then, yeah, this time last year, there's the Nightmare Factory with, Cody Rhodes and other very cool trainers there, like QT Marshall.
Oh, for sure. Well, you've definitely had the blessing to be able to train under some amazing names. You've really had the opportunity to sit under some great learning trees.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So, in terms of the earliest portions of your wrestling training, what would you say was the most challenging aspect of professional wrestling for you to wrap your mind and body around?
Personally, for me, it would have been the fact that not everybody moves the same. So you can train and work a certain way, but oftentimes it won't translate with a different person just because everybody's different.
Right. So, I'm presuming, because this is typically the case for most of the people that I've had on the show, I'm presuming that you've been at least a fan of this stuff the majority of your life. Is that pretty accurate?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I don't think there's ever been a time when I just haven't been a fan of wrestling. It's pretty much been my entire life from the get-go.
Got you. What would you say is your earliest wrestling related memory?
Think I'm going to show my age here, but when Shawn Michaels returned from his broken back,
Oh, yeah.
that was very spectacular for me. I don't remember all too much. I just remember I was like, wow, who is this guy?
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I've been a fan since I was around 11, and I just turned 56 a couple of months ago. So my earliest memories are from the early 1980s, as a kid in Florida, watching the old Florida Championship Wrestling with Gordon Soley doing the commentary. And the first feud I remember having some memory of was Dusty Rhodes and Kevin Sullivan. Uh,
Wow.
long time ago, many moons. But I've had the good fortune of actually being around for a lot of significant events and trends within the business, and actually seeing a lot of things as they happen. So it's been a really cool ride. So.
Sounds like it, yeah.
So, was there a particular point in your fandom where everything shifted and you started to think, I think I could actually do this? Was there a particular turning point for you, or was it just kind of a natural progression?
Um, I think the exact moment where I thought, yeah, I'm gonna give this a go was Shawn Michaels and Undertaker in the career versus streak match. So when that
Oh, yes.
came to a head, I was like, I don't know, there's just something about Shawn Michaels' whole demeanor in that match and the way it finished. Just he had this sense of finality, and I think that's something I've been chasing my entire career.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, at well, prior to professional wrestling, did you have a background in athletics, martial arts, sports, anything like that that perhaps gave you a physical background, at least for making the move into professional wrestling?
So I dabbled in a handful of sports growing up. I took up boxing for about 2 months, just for like the cardio side of things. I did MMA for a few months in high school. Just whenever like free seminars would pop up, I'll go. Like I remember there was a free tryout for karate, amateur wrestling, and I was like, yeah. And I always thought maybe this would benefit my background, or maybe it'll help shape me as a wrestler moving forward, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. So, away from wrestling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
I enjoy drawing and reading.
Are you reading anything interesting right now?
Uh, I am actually rereading Shawn Michaels' Heartbreak and Triumph, and there was a book given to us from the Nightmare Factory. I've been trying to read, but I haven't touched in a few months, so I need to pick that back up soon.
What book was that?
I forgot. I think it's like The Art of the Actor or something along those lines. I generally can't remember right now.
Got you. Got you. Well, I'm actually currently reading Killer Cross's book, Life is Fighting, which is amazingly good. Um,
Nice.
so that's one I'll recommend to you. And if you have not read John Moxley's book, That is also quite good. I read that some time ago, but that is well worth your time if you have not read it.
Oh, I have. It was very insightful. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
So, we're mostly a wrestling related show, but we do dabble a little bit into pop culture, and I'm always looking for recommendations. By any chance, are you watching or listening to anything cool right now?
Um, Honestly, I've gone back to rewatch shows I've already seen. So I'm currently rewatching Supernatural and Red Dwarf.
Nice, nice. You know, uh, I have been meaning to progress further in Supernatural than I have. I've just got so many other things going on. I'm just finding it hard to carve out the time. But it's an amazing show.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I grew up watching it. It's one of my favorites. It's a comfort show of mine, actually.
yeah, I can definitely see that, and I'm a huge fan of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and his involvement with the show was just very cool.
Yeah.
So, another question outside of wrestling, and that is outside of wrestling, what person inspires you the most and why?
Um, it's hard to say. I think probably my nan. She's long past now, but she was just always there and always the one to believe in me from the get-go. Um, so yeah, she has a very, very special place in my heart. So yeah.
Gotcha. So looking over at the Instagram chat, Brianna Franklin asks this question, and that is, what is your favorite submission hold?
Probably the one that I use, and I'm currently using the Koji clutch.
Okay,
Yeah. Saw Sami Zayn use it during his 2016 run in NXT, and I thought that was a very, very cool submission. So I've started using it in my matches.
nice, nice. So, so you are from Gold Coast, Australia, which I know is in the Queensland area. Um, Are you originally from there, or were you born elsewhere in Australia and ended up there, or is Gold Coast basically home?
Gold Coast is home. I was born and raised here. The only time I've ever left is just to like travel interstate overseas, but no, Gold Coast always has been my home.
Gotcha. What would you say is your favorite thing about Gold Coast?
The beaches.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I can imagine. I can imagine. So, when you were training at Nightmare Factory, I mean, obviously you spent some time in Atlanta, which is where I'm based out of. How did you like Atlanta?
I absolutely loved it. There were times when I would get homesick, but oddly enough, Atlanta felt a lot like the Gold Coast, so it really, really helped with that. If I was given a chance to move overseas, I would definitely move to Atlanta.
Gotcha, gotcha. I've been here since 1983, and I've seen Atlanta grow and change a lot, but it's still definitely a great place to be. I'm about 35 miles northeast of the city, so I'm far enough away where it's a little bit of a quieter lifestyle, but you've got the amenities of a big city nearby, so it's kind of the best of all worlds. So, what does your family think about all of this? How do they feel about you pursuing your wrestling dreams?
Uh, up until maybe 2 years ago, they all thought I was crazy. I'm like, wrestling? What? What? go be something else, go make money elsewhere. Why would you do that? And then or how passionate I was. Took them a while to come around to it, to be supportive, but they're very supportive now.
Gotcha. So, knowing obviously that the physical side of wrestling is very important.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no problem. But knowing that the physical side of all of this is quite important, and I'm sure that you spend at least a fair amount of time in the gym. What exercise or group of exercises in particular do you feel is most pertinent to keeping you?
Definitely cardio. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to figure out this camera. But yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, definitely the cardio side of things. And being able to lift. So sorry.
Oh, no problem. No problem. So, kind of on the flip side of that question, what exercise do you know is a necessity when you go to the gym, but you dread doing the most?
I I dread cardio actually. It's very exhausting and taxing, but it's a necessity.
For sure. So, they say that the best wrestling personas are usually yourself, pretty much turned up to 11. So tell us about the Outlier. Tell us about in-ring Kyla Knight and kind of compare and contrast her with everyday you.
In-ring Kyla is a lot more confident and a lot more aggressive, driven, poised, graceful. Compare that to me outside the ring. I am very, very clumsy. I've injured myself more outside the ring than I have inside. I'm very shy and introverted, so it's definitely on the opposite end of who I am.
Gotcha. So, tell us about your very first match. What was it like? How did it go? What were your thoughts going into it, thoughts coming out of it? Tell us about the first one.
My first ever match actually wasn't supposed to happen. I was just planning a match with one of the girls who came in, and she saw that I was ready, but the promoter and booker just didn't want to book me. So
Okay.
she was like, "Hey, bring your gear to the next show. We're gonna go and do this match in front of him during training and all that. We're gonna make him see that you're ready." And then yeah, we get in the ring, we go over the match, and he sits there and he looks at us and he goes, "Semi-main, 8 minutes." So I debuted in semi-main as a heel for an 8 minute match that wasn't even supposed to happen on that card.
That scenario is something that I'm finding doing these is extremely common. A lot of people's first matches they were not expecting to actually have even be a match. So you're in very good company.
Yeah.
So we've heard about the first one. Now, if you can narrow it down, tell us about your favorite match that you've been a part of.
My favorite match that I can remember so far would be my most recent match I had with Renegade. It was an intergender match a couple months ago, and it was challenging, different, but it lit something in my heart with wrestling where it's like, yeah, I can still go. So it just refreshed that passion.
Gotcha. So, I know that a lot of women in the business are really coming to enjoy the intergender matches. Tell us about your thoughts on those types of matches. Do you like them, or would you prefer to wrestle women, or does it matter to you?
It doesn't matter to me. I think I'm more biased to working intergender matches because when I started training, there was only 3 women in the whole state wrestling, so I had no choice but to get used to facing the men.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure you've probably developed some of these. And I'll ask, what is your biggest in-ring pet peeve? What just bugs you that happens in the ring?
Um, I think it's more people dead selling, having to just, yeah, it's just them just laying there and not really giving room to do anything else, where you have to like physically move them and physically do everything on your own.
Gotcha.
I think
So if you could only be one, would you rather be great in the ring or great on the mic?
uh great in the ring.
Okay. That has actually become one of my favorite questions that I have in my repertoire because it's usually almost a 50-50 split. And it's interesting hearing people's reasons why they would prefer to be great in one aspect or great in the other. And so what is your reason for choosing great in the ring?
For me, uh being great on the mic can only get you so far. Um, you have to be able to back it up in the ring as much as you can. At least that's my
Absolutely.
opinion.
So in the time that you've been doing this, what has been your most unusual or memorable encounter with a fan?
I once had a fan insult me and call me a dog after a match, and I thought that was very, very jarring because this was like my fourth, fifth match I've had, and all of a sudden I'm getting this type of reaction. Yeah,
Gotcha. So do you have a preference yourself between working heel or babyface, or is it pretty much just whatever the situation calls for?
I'm happy working both. I'm flexible enough and confident enough that I can work to however the booker or promoter wants me to work that night. If he wants me more babyface, I can confidently do that.
Gotcha. So, in terms of your in-ring work and your promos and such, who would you say are some of your influences? Who has helped shape Kyla Knight into the performer that she is?
So in ring wise, I take a lot of my in ring influences from like Danielson, Shelley, Nigel McGuinness, those real technical wrestlers.
Absolutely,
Promo
yeah.
wise, I think it's more Chris Jericho, how he changes his tone, how he uses his inflections and all that. It's very he's demanding without yelling, and I feel like it's a very, very good skill to have.
Gotcha. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that just really speaks to you, that you find yourself gravitating back to, that's kind of like comfort food, like you were talking about Supernatural. Is there a match or matches that have that effect on you, that you find yourself just gravitating toward?
Yeah. I always find myself rewatching anything Bryan Danielson, but the main one would probably be him and Ring of Honor.
Absolutely. You know, I have, like you, I really enjoy the mat technicians, and I also enjoy watching wrestlers that have a background in, for lack of a better term, shoot martial arts. For instance, I know Danielson has a background in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So does Kyle O'Reilly, for instance. And I just feel like those wrestlers carry themselves in a different way than wrestlers that don't have the real world shoot martial arts background. So I just really enjoy the technicians as well. So, kind of piggybacking onto that question, do you have an all-time favorite promo as a fan?
Um, the what? Yeah, sorry. I always go back and just something about Eddie Guerrero's like Addict promo. It
Yes.
it hits something in me every time. And
Yep.
yeah, it's always that one.
Yeah. Yeah. That, the promos like that are so raw and so real, are just special. And he was clearly
Absolutely.
speaking. He was clearly speaking from the heart. And yeah, I will definitely agree. That's on my promo Mount Rushmore for
Yeah.
sure. So, in your opinion, at this very moment, excluding yourself, who are the best male and best female wrestlers in the world? Who is the best man and the best woman?
Uh, wow, that's a it,
That's a tough one.
it is because like I just want to just pull back and say Danielson, even though he's retired, but like I'm being very Danielson biased right now.
Nothing wrong with that.
Um, as for women, I think it's got to be Toni Storm.
Yeah, I can't argue that. I mean, the run she has had recently, she is doing the best work of her career without a doubt. I mean,
Oh,
uh,
absolutely.
the yeah, yeah, and I'm actually, now that she is in the WWE system, down the road, I am looking very forward to Jordan Grace working a program with Rhea Ripley. I think the two of them could absolutely tear the house down. Two extremely powerful women who can both go in the ring. I think that's going to be magic when that happens.
Oh, that would be amazing.
So, and this can be present day or past. Who would be a dream opponent for you? Who would you absolutely love to have the opportunity to share a ring with? Bryan Danielson?
Honestly, he's up there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Does it have to be one person?
No, no. As many as you would like to name.
So in the past, it would have been the likes of like Victoria, Melina, even Lita. Um, Today, I'd probably say definitely Tony. Um, you know, absolutely wild card, Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
King
and
King of the submissions.
oh, absolutely, I'd probably definitely learn a thing or two working with him. I can't really think of anyone else, to be honest.
Gotcha. So tell us a bit about the indie scene in Australia. I've heard that that the scene there is just amazing, but give us a taste of what the indie scene there is like.
I think it's world class. It's definitely one of the better scenes in the world. It's just because we're literally an island of our own, we don't get as much exposure as the rest of the world. Because you got the likes of like Robbie Eagles, who's, you know, tearing it up here in Australia, and then he's over there in New Japan. Um, you got Jessica Troy, Charlie Evans, just these amazing names working so hard and consistently just being the best worker on the card. They just, we just don't have that reach.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned you've sort of partially answered this question earlier. You know, talking about Sami Zayn's submission move that you've kind of adopted. But overall, what is your favorite move? What is something you just really enjoy doing? And on the flip side of that, is there a move that you won't do or you would at least rather not do? And that can be either giving or receiving.
So with his permission, I started doing the Cody cutter,
Oh, nice.
and that's yeah, but it's from the turnbuckle as opposed to the ropes, and it's been really fun to do. It's just like my way to pay homage to Cody.
Very
On
cool.
the other side, a move that I'll refuse to do and refuse to give would probably be a back body drop.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, something that I've mentioned on here that, you know, as a fan, a move that whenever I see it being set up for, I just get the shivers because it just appears that there are so many ways that it could go catastrophically wrong, is actually the vertebreaker. And
Oh,
you don't see that move much these days. You know, back uh, in the Attitude Era, they were throwing vertebreakers around like it was candy. But I mean, now actually the last, and I can't remember who he was working, but the last vertebreaker I actually remember seeing was actually Cody and somebody. I'm not remembering who. But yeah, I just that move, it just looks like, you know, a recipe for disaster if it is not done absolutely flawlessly. So
yeah, no, I agree. There was a guy actually on the Indies in South Wales who actually had his neck broken from a vertebraker. So no, I agree 100% with that move.
absolutely. So you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure this applies to one degree or another. So I'll ask you, what hurts right now?
My knee and my shoulder.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Um,
I tore my LCL back in 2020, so I feel the effects of it even a few years later.
oh, no doubt. Once you do something like that, even with either surgical repair or rest and rehab or such, it's things are just never entirely the same, and you end up with lingering pains and aches and issues and all of that. So I completely sympathize. Um, so during the time you've been doing this, what would you say is the worst bump you have taken?
Um, I haven't taken bad bumps per se, just more like poorly executed. That was one. Okay, I once took a sit out. Hang on, I'm trying to think of the move. I'm sorry. A choke out power bomb where I end up getting a concussion from that because I smashed the back of my head on a folded chair that was right under me. So that
Ooh,
one sucked.
oh, no doubt. Absolutely. Um, so what is your take on the role that social media is playing as a promotional tool in wrestling?
I think it's both very beneficial and it can be a liability because in more ways than one, it's how you're promoting yourself. You're getting your name out there, you're building a following, which is something that's been like infinitely easier these days. But on the flip side, it can be also dangerous because people tend to put themselves in holes by saying things that they shouldn't be saying or expressing opinions that don't need to be expressed and just yeah, it's just more or less be smart about it.
Gotcha. So, knowing everything you know at this point in your life, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Um, the advice I'd give my younger self would be not everyone is going to be your friend and not everyone has your best interests at heart. Be smart with who you choose to spend your time with.
Very true. Very true. Very wise words there. So, do you have any advice for any young people that are looking to break into the business? For instance, we've got Brianna Franklin in the audience who, like I said, she is currently a pretty new trainee at House of Champions. But any advice for any young people looking to break into the business?
Um, Research the schools around you. Make sure that they are of quality and standard training. Um, that and just I think just mainly that. Research the schools. Make sure that it benefits you in the long run, and that they're not just some place just wanting to take your money.
Gotcha, because there are plenty of those. Unfortunately, less than scrupulous uh, school owners and administrators, and it's kind of the same thing, in the more traditional martial arts. There's a lot of what are called McDojos that are uh, basically, cranking you through this cookie cutter curriculum and not really producing anything of merit. So yeah, I absolutely agree. You have to definitely be careful and choosy about who you hitch your wagon to.
Yeah.
So do you have any pre-show traditions? Any things that you try to do consistently before you walk through the curtain?
Yeah. So I have the usual warm up, pre-workout stretches. Um, I pray, and I always match study Danielson. Even if it's just
Absolutely.
5 minutes of a match, I always just see how he works, see how he moves, and how he just goes pretty much.
Gotcha. So, just kind of a quick rundown. What all do you carry in your gear bag, and do you carry anything unique or unusual in your gear?
Um, no, I just have the standard boots, gear, jacket, deodorant. Probably
Gotcha.
just electrical tape. Yeah, nothing too different and bizarre.
Gotcha. So, over the time that you've been doing this, have you had a favorite venue that you have wrestled in? Is there a venue that has been very special to you, and if so, why?
Um, there's two that come to mind actually. There's the Powerhouse in Toowoomba, which is about 2 hour drive from where I live right now. I think that venue just feels very homely. It's just yeah, it's a decent venue, and the crowd makes it worth it. Um, the other one would probably be the Monster Factory in New Jersey. That was cool.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, like seeing the history of the building, looking at like the alumni on the wall. It was just very cool to even set foot there, let alone wrestle there.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. So, something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we have let the current guest pose a question for the next guest. And my previous guest was actually a wrestler based in Florida by the name of GMJ. And I had mentioned that you were coming on the show as the next guest. So he asked, what is your absolute favorite thing about the indie scene in Australia?
The close camaraderie. Everyone is very supportive of each other and is just there to help build each other up. It's a very homely feel.
Gotcha. So, since this is part of a series, do you have a question that you would like to pose to the next guest? And I can go ahead and tell you the next guest is actually a bit of a legend in the wrestling business, the outlandish Zicky Dice. I don't know if you're familiar with Zicky, but he is definitely a character. And the question does not have to necessarily be specific to him, but do you have a question that you would like to pose?
Um, I wish I thought of one beforehand, but I can't think of one right now. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. So we're getting toward the end of things now. So do you have any upcoming shows or any social media you would like to hype, or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
Yeah, there's a show in Toowoomba next weekend called November Rain.
Okay.
That's at the Powerhouse. And my socials for everything is Kyla Knight GC.
Yeah, I've got the majority of it actually running on the ticker on the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
So as far as what we've got coming up on the Throwdown, let me see here. This is okay. So Sunday, which will be November 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern, we've got episode 168 with, as I mentioned, the outlandish Zicky Dice. Zicky actually is going to be fresh off of his debut in the sport of power slap. He actually recently traveled to Abu Dhabi and had a slap bout with actually another previous guest on the Throwdown, Marty Casaus, who was Marty the Moth in Lucha Underground. And then on Monday, which will be November 3rd, also at 7 p.m. Eastern, I've got episode 169, and our guest that night is going to be a Texas-based pro wrestler, Watchdog Trent Mercer. And then on Thursday, the 6th, at 7 p.m. Eastern, I've got episode 170, and our guest is another Florida-based pro wrestler, the Mad Hatter, Rafael Delgado. So that's what we've got coming up on the Throwdown. And before we get ready to wrap all of this up, I'm sorry we lost your camera, but
I'm so sorry.
do you have any final words that you would like to pass along to the audience?
Thank you for tuning in and for having me. I really, really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Absolutely. And for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this on replays and such, thank you for that. If you like what we have going here, do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until Sunday night at 7 with the outlandish Zicky Dice, be good to each other.